Jamie Hand here, and today is the fall equinox, where we have not only the same number of hours of daylight as we do nighttime, but it's also the start of that fall season. Even though it's still 90 degrees here, we can welcome the new season of autumn, and that is what I'm sharing with you today. I have a very simple art ritual that you can do to set your intentions on what you would like to bring in and what you would like to let go of. The fall equinox is a great time to actually reflect on what are we thankful for, what gratitude do we have, but then also a time, just like the trees lose their leaves, they let go and release, what do we need to let go of and release as well? So for materials, I have just a regular sheet of copy paper, a sheet of, this is watercolor, but you could also use any type of mixed media paper, or even just like a cardstock paper could work. I also have my scissors, glue stick, I have a pencil, a paintbrush, a black pen, and you can just use whatever you have. I have a ballpoint pen, and then I have a felt tip pen. None of this is anything fancy. I do have watercolor paints, which is actually just my daughter's watercolor paints, and a cup of water. Now to get started, I'm going to start on the heavy piece of paper. So whatever your cardstock or watercolor paper, we're going to start with that first. And once you have all your supplies ready and you are set up, then you want to take a moment and connect to your space. And this, you could light a candle or an incense, or just take a moment, and I like to even just place my hands on the paper and take a deep breath in and a deep breath out, and just settle into your space. And bring your awareness and your intention to this sacred space of creativity, allowing yourself this gift of time, not worrying about what happened before or what you're going to do next, but just allowing yourself this space to let your creativity flow. And if you have any additional intention you wish to set for this activity, you can go ahead and do so now. Okay, to get started, we are going to start with a tree. And what I want you to do is pick a black marker or pen, whatever you have, and we are going to draw a tree. Now, if you can draw whatever type of tree you want. So if you want to get all fancy and draw the most amazing tree ever, go for it. But one technique you can use is using the letter Y to create your tree. So let me demonstrate. So in the middle of my paper, I'm just going to do a large Y, and then I'm going to continue to repeat the letter Y in different ways. You can even flip them backwards, and that will start to create the base of my tree. Now, do not get hung up in making it a realistic picture of the tree. Remember, this process, it's not about the final outcome of the artwork. What it is about is the process and the journey of creating the artwork. So don't get hung up on how your tree looks. And once you have some branches, then start writing in the different things you're grateful for. And you can do this however you want it to look. And if you're having a hard time filling up your branches, feel free to even just repeat the same words of what you are grateful for. Okay, then once you have your tree filled up, and feel free to make it as full as you want, we are now going to add our watercolor over to the top. So I'm going to bring my paints closer and my jar of water, and With this kind of watercolor, I simply get my brush wet and then pick a color that represents gratitude or a color that you just really like and enjoy. And there is no wrong way to do this. You are simply going to use water and the paint, and you are going to just cover over the top of your picture. Have fun with this, explore, try different color combinations, but use your favorites. Use what makes you happy and what you enjoy. If the water makes your pen bleed, that's okay. That's part of the process. Just go with it. Okay, now that I have my watercolor complete, I'm going to move that to the side and let that dry. Now on a dry workspace, so go ahead, make sure your workspace is dry. I am going to write all the things that I want to release or let go of for this new fall season. So with the fall equinox, it's a great time to get in tune as the same seasons of Earth, where the earth and the trees are letting go of their leaves and releasing as they prepare for winter. So what can you release before we get into the winter months, which is all about rest and restoration? So what can you release and let go of? Now go ahead and just journal that out on your piece of paper. One thing I like to do when I'm journaling about this is I let my hand go as fast as it wants. So I'm not worried about my handwriting or how it looks. It really is just processing the thoughts on paper. So you may see that mine looks a little more like scribble scrabble, but don't worry. It's just a way for my hand to keep up with my brain. So don't worry about your handwriting or how it looks, but just think of what you want to let go of this season, and you're going to write it in your paper, and then we're going to repeat it and fill up our paper. So you may be like, Jamie, that looks totally like Scribble Scrabble. And that's okay, because for me, it was just about releasing and getting those thoughts out as quickly as possible onto the paper. And now that they're on the paper, we're going to crumple it up and really just squeeze out the energy into that. And then we're going to smooth it back out. And here's where we get to have fun and play, because letting go and releasing doesn't have to be so serious. We can have fun with it. Okay, and see, even my paper tore. That's okay. Part of the process. Now I'm going to go back to my watercolor paints. I'm going to make sure my brush is clean. And now I'm going to go into the fall colors. So any colors that remind you of fall, of autumn, of the different colored leaves, you can get inspired by the colors of fall. Okay, I have the majority of my paper filled in, and one thing you'll notice is because we use copy paper, it doesn't hold the water as much. So you do want to be aware of how much water you add. Now if you get a hole in your paper, no worries, just go with it. But mine's pretty wet now, so I'm going to go ahead and let that dry. Now that my papers are dried, I am going to take my release, so everything I'm letting go of paper, and I am going to turn it over and just draw some simple leaf shapes. And I'm keeping it real simple. You can draw any type of leaf shapes you want. You can do them different sizes. Now I'm going to cut them out. And I'm using the back side of the paper because it's easier to see my marks. And now I have my leaves. I'm gonna get my gratitude tree, and I am just going to start gluing what I'm releasing onto the paper. And you can arrange it however you want. I'm simply going to use my glue stick and just start gluing my leaves. I'm just doing in a random pattern. You can do it however you want. And the thing about letting go is that we want to give gratitude to the lessons that we've learned along the way. And so that's why I think it's really beautiful to actually glue these on to what we are grateful for, because we are grateful for all the lessons that we've learned. I like to say everything is a lesson or a blessing. And there you have your fall equinox gratitude tree. Now, if you want to, you can add any more designs or doodling or any more writing that you want to. You could go back and add detail to any leaves or add more to your tree. It is completely up to you. Or you can leave it as simple as it is. All right, thank you for joining me on this fall equinox art ritual, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for watching.